Hello, welcome to another instructional video. In this video, we're going to go over the demonstration exercise, demonstration 1 for module 2. In module 2, for the demonstration exercise, we're going to learn how to run frequency distributions in SPSS, and towards the end of this video, we'll go over how to read and interpret our frequency distributions. Okay, and so in terms of just to get started, what we need to do is bring in SPSS. And so I just want to go ahead and bring in SPSS over here. I don't know why I can't bring it in. Here it is. I just dragged it from my other screen. Now, when you're accessing SPSS from home, remember you're always going to be using Internet Explorer, and you'll be going over those steps that are posted in Blackboard with regard to accessing SPSS remotely. If you're on campus, all you need to do is click on SPSS version 21, which is available in all the IT supported labs. Okay? For this demonstration, the textbook asks that you go ahead and get the monitoring the futures data, the MTF database. And so let's go to File, Open, and remember, the databases have been made available to us on the L drive. So that's where we need to go in order to do this demonstration exercise. We want to go to File, Open Data, and then in this look-in window here, we want to go to the L drive. And then the College of Arts and Science server, CAS, and then to the SOC lab. And then we want to go down to SOC 232, Survey Data, Datasets McSpirit, and then to the Monitoring the Futures data for this demo. We'll click on that. And here it is. All right. Now, in order to get started, please note and take note of this before you ever do any analyses on any of the databases to which you select. Simply go to Edit, Options, and always make sure, all right, in terms of this data, this dialog box, that the data will be displayed by the variable mnemonic as well as alphabetically. Because sometimes there's so many survey questions in each of these databases that if they're arranged by their appearance on the survey or in the database and by their survey question wording, they're hard to identify. Okay? And so always prime the pump, so to speak, and go to Edit, Options, and make sure that the data is displayed by the name and alphabetically. Okay? And just hit OK. Nothing happens here because we haven't really done any analysis. We just told SPSS how to stream in the data. Okay? And so now in terms of what we want to do is we want to go to Analyze, and in terms of the routine that we'll be learning is how to run a basic frequency distribution, which is a descriptive statistic that just summarizes and describes our data. So we want to go to Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, and Frequencies. And see, now the data is arranged nicely by the mnemonic and alphabetically. And in this demonstration, we're supposed to get the variable, right? How easy is it for you to gain access to cocaine? And so the question was, not at Coke, but if we go down, it was the variable mnemonic was get Coke. And so we want to put that in our variables window box here. Okay. And then when you're running your own analyses on your own variables, in terms of getting your frequency distributions on how people responded to those questions you were interested in understanding, you can throw a whole bunch of questions in the variables window at the same time, and you'll get a whole bunch of frequency distributions. But let's just now hit OK for this single variable or this single survey question. And sure enough, there's our frequency distribution. And I'll just expand this window. Okay. And what we have here in this first window is the case processing summary. And that's simply how many cases were processed. And we have 1,449 respondents and 51 young people who didn't respond to this question. Okay? And then the question, how easy to get cocaine? Young people could respond, probably impossible, very difficult, fairly easy, and very easy. And again, we had 51 young people who were not asked that question or refused to respond. These are the raw frequencies here. Okay? 216 young people said probably impossible. Now the next column is the percent. And we had 14% of young people said probably impossible. However, guys, I'm always going to recommend that you go to the valid percent. Okay? That reports, right, the number of valid cases. For example, that's the percent that's based on the young people who actually responded to the question. Note, for example, that there were 1,449 young people who actually gave their opinion on this question. And that translates into about, of those 216 divided by 1,449, that equals about 14.9% or 15%, okay, as opposed to this percent, which is based on this 1,500. This valid percent matters when we're dealing with some survey questions that have a whole lot of missing values, okay? For example, the GSS data. My suggestion is always move to reporting on the valid percent and always report to a whole number. In this case, right, we can say 15% of young people said it would be probably impossible to gain easy access to cocaine, okay, or to get cocaine. And then in terms of the cumulative percentage column, the cumulative percentage column reports simply, right, the sum total of percentages as you go up or down the frequency distribution. In this case, okay, in this case, we had 15% of young people who said it would be probably impossible to obtain cocaine, plus 18% makes for, okay, makes for 33%. That means 33% of young people said it would be very difficult or impossible to obtain cocaine. And then if we include the next category, 33 plus 26, we could say that 59 or 60% of young people said it would be difficult or impossible to obtain cocaine. Okay? The cumulative percentage column allows us to summarize and collapse, right, and report on our data at a easier scale, right? Just to say, for example, or summarize, 60% of young people said it would be pretty difficult to gain access. Well, the remaining 40% said if they needed cocaine or wanted to try cocaine, they could gain access to it fairly easily or very easily. You know, an issue worth discussing in your research paper if by chance this was a variable you were interested in understanding. Now, in terms of closing, okay, this marks somewhat the end of our instructional video. For the Module 2, what I'm asking you to do is simply get the same frequency distribution and simply upload, right, your SPSS file into Blackboard, or what you could easily do is simply save it. Save as, I'm sorry, you might want to print it as a PDF file. I'll just save it here. Okay. And that way, in your SOS 232, well, let me go ahead and do it this way. You want to go to you want to print, I should not, you want to print it as a PDF file. Okay. And then I want to save it in my documents, my SOS 232 folder. And I'll just save it as Module 1, Module 2, Demo 1, McSpirit. And then that way I'll keep all my demonstrations. And then I'll save it. And now, in terms of when I want to look at it or review it, I'll just go to my documents. And in order to review it, I'll go to SOS 232, Module 2, Demo 1. And there is my frequency distribution to upload. Okay. Notice I only had highlighted that one frequency distribution. If I turn that off and saved it again, it would save the whole file. This might be important for you, okay, as you move forward. Save your output as a PDF file in your SOS 232 folder, especially your output for your SPSS problems and your independent analysis, because again, you don't have SPSS on your hard drive, and if you want to gain quick and easy access to those frequency distributions as you write up your results, you'll need either save them as a PDF file or cut and paste your file as and I'll go ahead and get a Word file, or simply cut and paste into a Word document. As an actual image. There you go. All right. And so, and I'm not worried about any of you figuring that out, but remember, guys, to save your output as either a Word file or a PDF file as you move forward, and file name them appropriately to keep all your assignments organized for Module 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and our final Module 8. Okay? Even create maybe folders for each of those modules. Okay? And that marks the end of our session. And look forward to your work in Module 2.